finally some golfers made it to the green and they're ready to putt out.
Yeah.
Oh, it can be very lonely out on the course. Quiet. It's time to gently.
They get them all clean, and then we draw pictures on them together to illustrate some of our family photos. So we go through our summer vacation pictures or after the holidays. Here's a good summer shot of our neighbor boy. This was a rainy, hot, humid day. Thought it'd be fun to make a theme around that picture. So first, you place a picture on the back of the clean glass, any way you want, maybe in the middle, to the side. Do it to the side. And the kids can get out a ruler and draw a border around it, or you can just make simple little squiggles, like so. And this now is going to be the back of the frame, and of course this will be the front. So that's how it'll be positioned. Then it's time to do all the fun little drawings. So talk to your child about the day, what they remember when that picture was taken. Well, I remember it was very hot, as I said, so that means a good sun would look terrific in one of the corners. More squiggles. One thing I can do is draw squiggles, like so. And a lot of trees. Everything was green and lush. So draw a tree down in this corner. And once they've done all these little sketches, kind of looks like a coloring book, it's fun to either get out acrylic paints and fill in the spaces or use paint pens. So for the tree, let's see, apple tree. The apples will go right inside. This is a paint pen, and it's permanent as well. That looks good. And then the sun, since it was such a hot day, in between the clouds and the rain, the sun was shining bright. So that's all done. And then the kids can let this dry. And once they've finished, they might have a collage that looks something like this. Here's the other side. Oh yeah, the bug spray. A lot of mosquitoes on that humid day. And the kids can mount the picture on a piece of paper, trying to match it, of course, with the frame that they made, the little border. Plop it in place, and then put the little clips on. And it's ready to give as a present or display in your own home, and it's really a super souvenir of that vacation day. Now, if you have a preschooler in the family, I always discover when the big kids are doing something, the little one feels a little left out. You know, like, I want to do it too. And it's really not a good idea to have them coloring on the glass. So they can do their own picture. They can color one in on a piece of paper. Then that becomes the background. Find another picture, place that inside, and put it like so. And that looks great too. I remember after one of our trips up canoeing, my son had caught the biggest fish in the family. In fact, I think he was the only one who caught a fish. So this picture became very special to all of us. And nowadays it's a reminder that he's the fisherman. When he drew his pictures, he put in his fish, but then he said, hey, Mom, I need the whole lake. So he took a brush and just made a beautiful design going all around and decided then that this was the catch of the week, the catch of the lifetime. So we display that on our wall. And then other seasons of the year is fun to commemorate. You can use pumpkins and leaves for fall, snowflakes for winter, and of course, if you go out west, there's a great western shot. Any of the themes are perfect for family pictures. It's really a way to show that a photo and frame can tell a story. Work on my free throws, much less my three-pointers. The kids are getting so good now, I can hardly keep up with them. I think it's because they're getting so tall. Remember when they were little guys? We used to mark their height on the bedroom door with a pencil. Then we moved. I wish I had made a portable chart so that we could keep it. You can do that with your kids just by using a piece of foam core or tag board. Mark 2, 3, 4, 5 feet along one side. The kids can help you mark it off with the inches and feet. Or you can just glue a strip like this of a measuring tape. And then as the kids line up, mark their height, put the date, and for fun, put their handprints on there. And they can see them grow too. Of course, my favorite part, it's when you get 4 feet, 48 inches. Remember that? You're tall enough to ride the roller coaster at the boardwalk. No wonder kids like to grow so fast. Now, if only I could grow a little more. Up, that is. When you have an active family, you can stay fit as a mom or dad, just hauling the kids' equipment around. Their bats and balls and mitts, bicycles. But organized sports aside, I love family bike rides. And your kids will have fun if you have a family bike wash before you head out. Even the toddlers can get involved. They can play around in the sudsy water and then give them a paintbrush and let them paint the tires. They'll have fun doing that and it'll get them clean too. And be sure to check the kids' helmets. Their heads grow too, so you want to make sure these are safe for them. And then the older kids can learn how to lift the seat by themselves. Teach them how to do it. And then when it's all set, pack a picnic lunch and make a Saturday of it. Getting a good night's sleep is a key to healthy living. Goodness knows I could have used a couple extra hours last night. Any night. But putting the kids to bed is always a challenge. You know the scenario. You just put them down and you close the door, and then from the other side you hear this little voice. Dad, I want a drink of water. Or, Mom, there's a monster in the closet. That's when you enter with creative night lights. You start with a flashlight, and then the kids can decorate paper bags. They can use lunch bags or these shiny, beautiful decorator bags that you use for gifts. Then they can get out all their little craft supplies and decorate it with yarn, pipe cleaners, anything they want to make a character, some kind of a creature. And help them put a flashlight right into the bag like this. You tie a ribbon or some string to hold it in place. The easiest is just to put a rubber band up the flashlight. It'll tie it and hold it in place perfectly. Leave the switch below the bag. Then at night, when they're a little bit scared, place it by their bedside, and they'll have a comforting glow when you switch it on. The other kids in the family might want to have one too, so they can make up their own. Here's a pretty angel. I guess that would be a guardian angel at nighttime. A fun robot with all kinds of glitter and glitz. And a bunny. I love these little ears. Or a firefly with bright wings. And my very favorite is this ladybug, because she has all the little spots and holes going around like this. You put it by their beds, and when they're off to dreamland, you can say, sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite. Remember the movie The Sound of Music? I saw it about 12 times. One of my favorite parts was that scene when Julie Andrews took down all the curtains in the room and made clothes for the kids. Well, if you have some old curtains that are kind of faded, don't throw them away, because you can make dress-up costumes and clothes for your children. It's no sew. That's the best part. And that's why I like to get the kids involved. First, for a cape or some kind of a gown, all you need to do is slip a long piece of elastic, put a little pin on the end, right through the casing. Now, the casing is this part where the curtain rod was. See how easy it is to slip it through? And within minutes, like 2 or 3, you'll already have a great cape or a gown. I just knotted the elastic at the end, or you can pin it, And this looks quite elegant. Kind of looks like a wedding dress. It's great. Now, if you want to make a veil, you can do that too with another curtain. And I'll take this off, so. And then slip one of your daughter's headbands through it, or she could do it. And that's pretty simple to do too. Same way, just like the elastic. And push it through. You can put a little glue on the end to hold it in place. When I think about dress up, it's not just for rainy days with kids. Have you noticed how at discount stores on Halloween they have extra rows now just for adult dress up stuff? I think everybody likes to do it. Okay, so when you finished it, put it on your child, or they can dress up one of their stuffed animals like so. This is pretty cute. Ta-da. And then, let's see, put on some more decorations on another headband. And you could make a little tiara. Or if you don't like that, you could put a little rose and be a princess. Or put this back, whatever you want to do. That's what dress up is all about. Creativity and lots of fun.
What do you think? Fine. There you go, honey.
I'm not making a funnel cake like you have at the state fair, and it's not a donut. Of course, there aren't any holes in it. What I'm making is Navajo fry bread, which is a real popular snack that you often see served at tribal festivals and powwows, particularly in the Southwest. Just going to let it brown a little bit. These are so yummy, and kids love them. And they're easy to make because they just use ingredients that are readily available in the kitchen. Perfect. I'm going to let it drain on some paper towel. Like flour, 2 cups of flour. Very accurate, my measuring here. 1, 2. If you have several kids involved in this, let one of them do the measuring. And then we want to add to that some baking powder. And I always like to show the kids how nifty this little level is here. Now that one's accurate. 1 tablespoon of baking powder, sprinkle that in, and a teaspoon of salt. Always eyeball that. And a tablespoon of oil. I like to use peanut oil. In fact, I was frying those in peanut oil. It's 1 tablespoon of oil and 3/4 cup of warm water. That's perfect. Whoa! Never too perfect around here. That's okay, because we just got what we need. And then the kids can start stirring. So all of these ingredients are simple and easy to find. And actually, this goes together quickly. As soon as they're mixed, we want to get our hands in here and knead it a little bit. Just takes a couple seconds. And this is the fun part. It's kind of sticky at first, but as you knead it, it becomes a nice dough that'll be smooth and pliable. Now, from this dough, you can make 12 balls. So the kids can each take a glob and divide it all up in little piles for them, and then they can roll. And once they have their ball ready, then you can roll it out with a rolling pin to make these discs. And once that's done, and you want to make sure it's fairly thin, like this one here. This one's about right. You could make them very big if you wanted. Sometimes I've seen them at the festivals, and they're huge. But for our purposes in this pan, I'm going to use it this size. And then I've got my oil at about 375 degrees. This is the part where an adult needs to do this because it's very hot. I'm going to just slide it in like so. And immediately, it starts to sizzle, and I can smell. I'm going to turn it over. smells good. And of course, everyone's mouths are going to be watering. This is such a tasty snack, and you want to eat it right away, right after you've made it. And it's lightly browned here, perfect. Plop it on the, turn this off, and then you can serve it to the kids. Put a couple on a plate. This would be fun to have at a birthday party because they're so fresh and good. And then have several honey bottles around so that the kids can each drizzle as much honey as they want. I'll put a little bit more there. And for a little contrast, for our presentation, I'm going to put a little bit of powdered sugar because that adds a nice flavor too. And then pass it around to the kids and tell them that they're having an authentic Native American treat. When summer's over and the air gets crisp and cool, the kids and I like to go inside and get cozy and have a big bowl of warm applesauce. We sprinkle a little cinnamon on top. Smells so good, tastes great. But when it's not fall, this is what we do. We dump the whole thing out. You might be saying to yourself, is she having a little applesauce with her cinnamon? Not really. It's equal parts cinnamon and applesauce for an unusual aromatic dough. You can make this with your kids too, for making jewelry, ornaments, and it smells so wonderful. And these are the only ingredients you need. No eggs, no flour, no butter. You don't even need to put it in the oven. You just stir it together, and it starts to look like the kids' play clay. And if it's a little too sticky, just add a little more cinnamon. And if it's too stiff, add a little more applesauce. Just be sure you use applesauce from a jar. The homemade variety might be a little bit too runny. You can see it's just about ready to roll out. So the kids can get a rolling pin and roll it out on a sheet of wax paper. And ooh, it smells good. Your whole kitchen will smell like cinnamon. And when it's about 1/4 inch thick, tell the kids to stop and then think about some different shapes that you want to make for your jewelry. Maybe the person you want to give a pin to loves the outdoors. So pick a cookie cutter in the shape of a fish, or it could be a leaf, anything you have on hand. And if you don't have a cookie cutter, sometimes I make templates. I cut out a piece of cardboard from a cereal box in the shape that the kids like, and then they use that as a pattern on the dough, and then they just trim around the edges. Okay, I'm going to take this out, and it just pops out like a cookie. Oh, and if you want to make a hole in it for threading some string or elastic for a necklace, just use a little drinking straw, and you have a nice little hole in it. Kids can place these on a cooling rack, and they will dry out within 24 hours, so you don't have a long wait. And then they'll be hard, and they're ready to paint or decorate. Now this one has lots of glitter in it because we sprinkled some from the craft box into the dough, and then when it dried, it really sparkles. But if you want to add extra decorations, you can paint these. You can cover them completely with paint, or you can just squiggle some little designs using the paint from the squeeze bottles. I think I'm going to add a few dots to this fish, and then it'll look all done. That's cute. Let that air dry for a couple of hours. And if you'd like, you can put a little clasp on the back for a brooch. I call it a brooch. My kids say that sounds old-fashioned. They say it's just a pin, Mom. You can use household glue for this, or if you have a glue gun, just attach it with that. And then you're all set to wrap it up for a present for somebody, or you can put it on the outside of your gift, too. That makes a cute little decoration. So you have a gift on the outside and on the inside. Now, preteen kids like to make a lot of these, and I think it's fun if you encourage them to either give them to their friends or they can sell them at a little craft fair. If there's a carnival at school, they can just stick them into some velveteen and put it in an old frame like this, and it'll be a terrific display, and I'm sure they'll sell them all. I remember my son made a necklace for me once, and he just used alphabet letter shapes. Then he strung them up, and he gave it to me in a little box. I opened it up. I just loved it. He said, "Mom, it's for you, just in case you get lost." We were on a little safari. The kids were the guides, and I was the tourist. They were lifting up leaves and finding little bugs and things. Then we sat down by a jack in the pulpit. It was a beautiful Minnesota spring day, a little brisk. I just followed the children's lead and kept quiet mostly. There was all this squishy, dark mud on the shore of the lake. We built a little dam, then we picked up twigs to build a bridge, floated the leaves along the kid-made reservoir. We found fascination for an afternoon. It was so much fun. I could have asked a lot of questions, but I decided not to. There'll be time for that later on. But for now, it's about sticks and stones.
To order a video cassette of this episode of Donna's Day with Donna Erickson, call 1-800-653-6868. Or send $12.99 plus $3.49 shipping and handling to Donna's Day, Department 8, Richmond, Virginia, 23280. For more information about the activities in Donna's Day with Donna Erickson, please visit our website at www.ktca.org or write to us at Donna's Day with Donna Erickson, KTCA TV, 172 East 4th Street, St. Paul, Minnesota, 55101.
Donna's Day is made possible by Cheerios, the brand that's cared about families' nutrition for over 50 years. The one and only Cheerios.
Additional funding is provided in part by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
You're watching
A place to grow through learning. This is Wisconsin Public Television.
On the next Great Railway Journeys, screenwriter and actor Buck Henry abandons the trappings of Hollywood for the mysteries of Argentina. Discover the majestic Andean mountains on the train to the clouds. Buck takes to the tango and finds the secret hideaway of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. From the high Andes to Patagonia, don't miss the next Great Railway Journeys.
Great Railway Journeys, coming up at 6 on Wisconsin Public Television.
Envirotronics Laboratories, home of cutting-edge recycling technologies. Here, scientists take the no longer needed leftovers of human consumption and recycle them into usable products.
You might say here at Envirotronics Laboratories, the future is the past. For example, we just came up with one handy solution for two pesky problems. One, our laboratory is so big that in order to get from one place to another, we were wearing out all of our shoes, literally, left and right. Two, we had all these old coffee filters with file folders just piling up around the lab. So being resourceful, we took these old paper products and ran them through a shredder, a processor, and several other pieces of equipment too technologically sophisticated to mention, and ended up with stylish, comfortable shoes made from recycled paper. Here at Envirotronics Laboratories, you don't have to wait until tomorrow to get the future right now.
Professor, shoes made from recycled products are available at many shoe stores.
They are at shoe stores? Well, somebody really walked off with that idea. But we found plenty of other double-edged problems to deal with. One, our laboratory was getting kind of cold to work in. Two, we noticed that the world is full of old, used plastic bottles. Gone, but not quite forgotten. So we processed the bottles and recycled them into soft fleece jackets. Sound like we're nuts? Well, look at this. Now I'll bet nobody's done that except here in the future.
Recycled plastic fabric is not a future product. Many people around the country are wearing clothing made from recycled products.
What? People are doing this already? This is not the future?
I'm afraid not, Professor.
Okay, everybody, you can go home. It's already been done. Because here at Envirotronics Laboratories, the future is already the present.
You've just spent 2 minutes on Earth. Thanks for taking the time. Major funding provided by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency.
On the next Get Real, pick up a pen and paper with the kid author of a hit book. Then hit the slope and tap this kid for some real kicks.
Making music with your feet.
We'll toss our eggs, but not our cookies.
Yeah, awesome! Headed for adventure and packed with fun. Watch Get Real.
Sunday mornings at 10:30 on Wisconsin Public Television.
Water, water everywhere and not a drop to spare. Water on the ground, water in the air. Though it may evaporate, it never goes away. Snows onto your mountaintop, flows into your bay. Animals need water, people need it too. Keep it clean for me and I'll keep it clean for you. Keep it clean for me and I'll keep it clean for you. Keep it clean for...
You're watching Kids Central on Wisconsin Public Television.
Okay, you got it.
Yeah! We'll call it Kids Song. Tapping our feet. Soon everybody's gonna move to the beat. Give us Kids Song. We've got the sound. We're gonna be coming to your city and town. We want our Kids Song.
Great, cheer
We want our Kids Song.
That's the one.
Found us some new friends to help us when we need them. They got magic powers, can't thank them enough. Their name are the Biggles, we'll keep them a secret. Coming to the rescue when the going gets tough. We'll call it Kids Song. Tapping our feet. Soon everybody's gonna move to the beat. Give us Kids Song. We got the sound. We're gonna be coming to your city and town. We want our Kids Song. We want our Kids Song.
Press this for playback.
We want our Kids Song. We want our...
Children, we're hoping the board will approve funding for us to build a new stage.
Good news. We finally got a guest book for today's show.
All right, good job. We knew you'd come through, Jessica. Who did you get?
Julie Weiss, a wonderful woman who's going to teach all of us and the kids at home how to line dance.
Won't that be fun?
And it's good exercise and helps improve your coordination, too.
Okay, you've sold me.
Does that mean you'll come and join in?
What do you think, Mrs. Wilson? Care for a little line dancing after lunch?
Sure thing, Mr. Forbes.
Way to go.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, Casey. Did you hear about the guest for today's show?
Yes, I bumped into Jessica in the hall. A line dance instructor. This is gonna be neat.
If all our...
Polyandra they eat. They'll eat leaves all over the rainforest, and that's why you'll find tapirs all over the rainforest. And believe me, trucking through all this rainforest muck is no easy trick. Footnotes. Tapir is great at walking through the mud. Its feet fold up, so when the tapir pulls its feet out of the mud, they can take it out without making a sucking sound or without getting stuck. One of the reasons a tapir hangs out in the river is because that's the safest place to be when a jaguar's around. Jaguars like the water, but tapirs are much better swimmers. So, a chase through the river after a tapir is probably even a little too much bath time for a jaguar.
A jaguar can live in any of the 3 different types of rainforest. So can a tapir and a coati.
Hold it. Rewind.
So can a tapir and a coati.
Coati? You can't just say coati and not explain it. Gotcha. I'll take this one.
Coatis have a close relative that look a lot like them. It's the raccoon.
The coati is the most singularly diurnal of the raccoon family. What? In English, that means they hang out in the day. They are devotedly omnivorous, eating fruit that is seasonally abundant. In other words, they'll eat whatever's around. Didn't I just say that? Well, yeah, sort of. All right, now that we've seen the coati, we can go back to jaguars living in the 3 types of rainforest.
So can a tapir and a coati and monkeys.
There are a gazillion monkeys in the rainforest. Capuchin monkeys, squirrel monkeys, spider monkeys. Of course there's lots of them, because there's lots of trees. And in the rainforest, lots of trees means lots of monkeys. Because to a monkey, trees are everything. And you can say that again. The trees of the rainforest give monkeys food and a place to live.
But the most important thing to know about the rainforest is that they're the lungs of the planet. They give us the Earth's water supply. They provide us with oxygen and medicines, and they're like a giant faucet for our forests and deserts, and this isn't working. What's supposed to be happening is that Chris and Martin and I are giving a presentation for the local school on the rainforest. The only problem is, I'm doing all the serious issues while they're hanging around with monkeys and falling into rivers with tapirs.
Creature contradictions! How do you know you're not talking about the same thing?
We're not talking about the same thing at all. For one thing, I'm dealing with all the serious stuff.
Serious stuff? What serious stuff?
Serious stuff. Here, I'll show you what we've got so far. Each rainforest covers thousands of square acres. That's really big. And each rainforest has their very own special balance of life. They each have their own ecosystem. Ecosystem means a natural setup where thousands of creatures depend on each other. There was once 8 million square miles of rainforest around the equator, and now there's less than half that. That is because of logging, farming, manufacturing, human population explosion, and lots of other complex reasons. But all of this has resulted in a buildup of gases, which is what causes the greenhouse effect. The greenhouse effect is heating up our planet, and that's not all. The destruction of our rainforests is destroying all of our natural resources.
No kidding. But it's even more complicated than that. Animals, trees, bugs, everything relies on everything else. That's what you should show.
What do you mean?
It's all about creatures, Al. There are lots of animals that live only in tropical rainforests, like the toucan.
Check it out. Toucans have one of the most colorful beaks in the world. And they are big old beaks. They need them big to chomp their favorite foods. Fruits, lizards, eggs. And with a beak like that, who wouldn't want to chomp?
Toucans are masters at tossing food back into their mouth. Oops.
You'd think those huge beaks would be really heavy, but they're not. They're light as balsa wood.
That's amazing. And it must be why it's so easy for toucans to toss food around.
Wow. Hands down, toucans are one of Central America's coolest looking birds.
And it's not just toucans. The cloud forest has all sorts of colorful exotic birds. In a patch of rainforest the size of West Virginia, there are more different types of birds than in all of North America. Hey, what's that? It's red, green, purple, orange. It's a... Martin?
I'm wearing this Hawaiian shirt to help me find a creature that's attracted to bright flowery colors. The hummingbird. You've got to love hummingbirds. They're little nectar-eating, pollen-spreading creature helicopters. What other bird can beat their wings 80 times a second?
Nobody.
Who else do you know who can fly backwards?
Fly backwards? Definitely nobody. But Martin, let's get into hummingbirds and flowers and how they work together.
Got it. Flowers and hummingbirds are a great team. The flowers give the hummingbirds nectar to eat, and the hummingbirds spread the flowers' pollen from flower to flower. Bright colors attract hummingbirds like a magnet.
Hummingbirds are after nectar, and a colorful flower is the way a plant shows it's got some.
But I wonder what a hummingbird actually sees.
Sounds like it's time for the Hummingbird Cam.
How neat the whole thing is. It's all connected. The flowers need the hummingbirds, and the hummingbirds need the flowers.
It's rainforest logic. Like the monkeys need the fruit, and the fruit comes from the trees, and the trees need the ants.
Did you say trees need ants? Why would trees need ants?
The acacia tree is defended by thousands of fierce little creatures called acacia ants.
These ants live inside the thorns of the acacia tree, and the way the ants and the tree work together is amazing. Okay, these guys may look small, but they're tough little hombres, and they're on a mission.
All right, think of the tree as a living fort, and the ants are kind of like the soldiers. The tree gives the ants food and shelter, and in return, the ants protect the tree from creatures like grasshoppers who would eat the leaves. Whoa! Acacia ants will attack anything that brushes up against their tree. Lizards, birds, mammals, monkeys, and even people.
And now Martin's gonna demonstrate that by putting his hand in the tree.
I am?
An experiment.
All right, I'll do it for science.
See? The ants need the trees, and the trees need the ants. Not that it matters if people keep cutting down the trees.
Okay, trees, tapirs, monkeys, and jaguars. Toucans, hummingbirds.
But that is barely 0.0001% of all the creatures that live in the cloud forest.
But we gotta move if we're gonna cover the dry forest. I mean, there are lots of questions to ask.
How many creatures are in the dry forest? 52,211.
It's easy to make up a number. The trick is naming them all.
Ocelots.
Coatis.
Boa constrictors.
Margays.
Kinkajous.
Paca. Armadillos. Tenosaurs.
Tamanduas.
Jaguarundis. This is crazy. We'll never be able to name them all.
Okay, forget about naming them. Let's go for it. Let's check out the tropical dry forest.
hope one of you guys packed dry socks.
First, you gotta know how to get to a dry forest. The nearest one's on the other side of that range. Hey, leave it to me. I know a shortcut. If any of these creatures of the tropical dry forest look a little bit nervous, it's because you never know who's around the next corner. And one of the last creatures they want to bump into that's just around the corner is the Tayra.
These guys may look kind of cute and furry, but don't be fooled. Tayras are gnarly, roaming death machines.
Ha! Good description, Martin.
Hey, this monkey knows what I'm talking about. He's getting out of here.
Good move. That's the thing to do when a Tayra's around.
Tayras are seriously industrious hunters.
You want industrious? Check out the leafcutter ants. These guys are actually fungus farmers.
Farmers? Who would have ever thought that ants could be farmers?
Well, they are, and here's how they do it. These guys climb high up into the trees, clip off a huge chunk of leaf, carry it back to their colony, chew the leaves, plant the fungus on the chewed leaves, and when the fungus grows, they harvest it like corn. And they'll travel huge distances to collect their leaves. The leafcutters make so many trips back and forth that you can see a well-worn trail through the grass. It's really cool how ants move together like a troop. Imagine if humans were that coordinated.
You know what's even cooler? Leafcutter ants carry more than 50 times their own weight. Now, if a human had that much strength, he could lift a 5-ton elephant. Ants carry it miles up a steep hill.
Not only do leafcutter ants harvest huge amounts of leaves, but they also build massive colonies. This entire hillside is an underground leafcutter ant city. It's home to millions of worker ants and made up of hundreds of fungus gardens.
Now that's what I call ant ingenuity. It just goes to show you, ants invented farming long before people.
But that reminds me of something I read. It's... farming in the rainforest is killing off many types of ants due to the use of pesticides.
Pesticides? You mean there's pesticides in the rainforest? Do you know what that means?
We know exactly what that means. Today in the rainforests, unknown insects are emerging and being discovered all the time. But pesticides and rapid deforestation are not just slowing the process, they are almost stamping it out.
Man, that's depressing.
But there is some hope. Yeah, if people change the way they think about creatures and our planet.
Hold it. I don't get it. We don't even know what these creatures are, and we're killing them off?
Disappearing dinosaurs! This is T-Rex, an old friend of mine. Big guy, big heart. You know what happened to him? He's gone. This is the saber-toothed tiger. Sabe was one of the toothiest cats I ever met. You know what happened to him? He's not around anymore.
That's really lousy, Tark. But I don't get the connection to the rainforest.
Allison, a whole world of creatures has disappeared, and we don't even know why it happened. With this rainforest thing, we do know why it's happening, but we're not doing a thing about it.
But we are going to do something about it. We're going to tell the whole story of the rainforest, the creature story of the rainforest. Guys, are you there?
Martin? Where are you?
Where else would we be? We're tubing our way through the lowland rainforest. It's warm, it's wet, and it's full of creatures. Hey, look! It's a three-toed sloth. Wow, a mott-mott. Hey, Chris, check out the tamandua.
I don't believe it. A poison arrow frog. Whoa. Cool. A tenosaur. Oh, crocodile.
We've hit the creature motherlode! There's got to be millions of creatures, and I think I just spotted a whole herd of white-lipped peccaries. White-lipped peccaries are a wild pig of Central America. Tracking them is easy because they travel in herds of over 100, and they always leave the forest floor uprooted wherever they go. You always know when they're around because of all the Central American animals. They're one of the smelliest.
Chris, I think we found them.
Peccaries are the rainforest vacuum cleaners.
Yeah, and do they have a distinctive odor?
They'll eat just about anything.
And they smell bad.
They're not picky eaters.
Well, then there's their smell.